So what we're going to look at, we're going to just look at a few of the tools that we'd use for glazing and white pen. So these are the things that you need to get out to start off with. So obviously if you forget after this demo, you can watch the video, alright? So first thing we get is some glaze. This is already mixed up, it's purple. We're going to mix a better colour for yours, and it's going to go with the paper. So whatever colour paper you've picked and whatever colour background you've picked, you're going to mix the glaze to coincide with it. Okay, so it's all about the colour scheme. What type of colour scheme were you doing? Monochromatic. You can do an achromatic colour scheme or a complementary colour scheme. Okay. Was it achromatic?
Monochromatic.
No, it's analogous. Analogous, monochromatic. Jack's laughing for the camera. Monochromatic, analogous, and complementary. Yeah? Okay. So what's achromatic? What's an achromatic colour scheme?
Blacks, whites and greys.
Thank you, so it's not colour. Okay, so this is your glaze. You will then need out a flock roller, 4-inch roller. We use flock because if we use the sheepskin, it'd put too many sort of like roller marks, too much orange peel. We need it to be smooth.
Is that also known as a foam?
It's foam inside. So no, it's not a foam roller, this is flock. It's got flock on the outside. I'll show you a foam roller because they're different. So you'll need a rag, pair of gloves, 4-inch tray, 1.5-inch brush, couple of squeegees. I know you're thinking, oh my god, what are we doing? Couple of squeegees, masking tape, dust brush. Alright, so the first thing you need to do, put that next to the side, is just dust the skirting and the wall or whatever's around your panel, because you're going to mask it. Alright, if it's already painted, the wall next to it, if you put general all-purpose masking tape on, what's going to happen there is it's maybe going to become too tacky and pull the paint off. So you need to be using a low tack tape. Or another way of using some low tack is just to de-tack the standard tape. That takes some of the tackiness off, so it's not as tacky. Another thing is don't leave it on for more than a day either, because then it comes extra sticky. Okay. So you're going to mask off all the way around your panel. So getting as close as you can. You don't want to get the tape onto your wallpaper that you've painted, but you also don't want to have it over here away from the skirting. You need to have it right in the corner. Press it down. What do we press it down to avoid? What goes under masking tape? What's the term for paint creeping under masking tape? Creep. Well done. It is creep.
I thought it was a trick question.
It was a trick question. It's very hard to ask that question without saying creeping under masking tape. So again, all the way around, so both sides. Have you got any questions while I'm putting this on? No? 2-minute silence tomorrow, by the way. It was Remembrance Sunday on Sunday, but it's the 11th day tomorrow. It's the 11th. And we always do Remembrance on the 11th of the 11th. So 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock, so wherever you're working, don't forget. Right, I'm not going to do the underneath, but when you do it, you'll have the top of the paper then going onto the wall. Don't mask the top, you're fine, okay? Oh no, do mask the top. Actually, Jimmy, I've just realised you've painted the wall, so where you've got your blown vinyl and it's been painted, mask the top edge of your blown vinyl onto the wall. Alright, so you've masked up the full area. Okay. So now what you want to do is get these on. Okay. There's a lot of pigment in there, and if you get it on in your skin, it's probably going to soak into your skin, and you're going to end up with whatever colour you're using on your skin for a couple of days. So it is quite, what's the word? I don't know, colourful? Strong. Good word. Right, this one here is just purple. Okay, that's glaze. Now it's been sat a while, so it's just sort of solidified. But it's just like that. All it is clear, water-based acrylic glaze with pigment added. You can add whatever colour you want. So you'll have some glaze and you'll mix up a small amount that's the right amount for your panel. Alright, so it's up to you whatever colour you use. We've got pigments and we've got the clear glaze. Okay? The key is to add a very small amount of pigment because it colours it. It's really, really strong, the pigments we have, and it colours it really quick. Okay, so just a small amount. So with your brush then, because we don't want to use our roller right to the top, you're just going to go into, or up to should I say, masking tape. Now this one here has got a lot of embossment. But don't put it on too heavy. It wants to be a nice thin but even coat of glaze. You can get oil-based glazes as well, but for this we're using a water-based glaze. Why would we use an oil-based glaze sometimes?
It's outside.
Not particularly want really glaze outside. Anything else? But you're on the right lines. Why would you use it outside? Hard wearing. So where might you use it where you need a hard wearing glaze?
Stairs.
Yeah. Staircases, corridors. Anywhere else you can usually go when there's no lockdown? Pub. I thought you'd get that answer, Jack. Pub. Yeah. You get it in pubs. So pubs, high traffic areas. That's where this effect is most common, really. Probably your old-fashioned pubs. It used to be in every pub years ago, but it's more just your traditional pubs now. So there, being around the outside now, it's not smooth, but what I'm going to do here, I'll just tip some into the tray. And then using your flock roller, just pick it up and roll out the excess. So it's covered, and then all you're doing is filling in the inside. This might go all right actually because there is quite a bit of embossment. Now what you're trying to do here is you're trying to get it onto the background. Here I'm going to put a bit more on to just get the background of the paper. So you're covering the background because you're going to take off. Let me push it in a little bit like that. You're going to take off the face of the glaze. When you wipe it, it's called glazing and wiping. What you do is you wipe over it once you've gone over with the glaze, and what that does, it just takes the embossed areas off. So you're left with like a two-tone effect. So this background's cream, and I'm putting on a purpley lilac glaze. So when I wipe it, what will happen is the background will stay purple, and the foreground should be cream. Takes a little bit of working in on some papers, this one especially. This actually looks like a Lincruster. Does anybody remember what I said a Lincruster was? Anybody heard me mention Lincruster before? What it's made out of? Go on, have a go. Have a guess.
Look at me, you usually know.
Jimmy, you usually know. Yeah? What? Did you hear that, everybody? Jimmy hasn't got a clue.
I've heard of it.
Right, a Lincruster, you've heard of it. What it is It's a paper and it's a really heavyweight paper. And then on the top, the embossed pattern is made out of linseed oil putty. So you know when we was doing like puttying, showing you how to putty, showing you what putty was, it's basically that, and it dries really, really hard. So once it's dried solid, that's it. It's coated over with another piece of paper, glazed over, and that's it. And that is absolutely rock solid. Again, for high traffic areas, pubs, hotels, restaurants, anything like that where it's, or staircases where it's probably going to get damaged. So, as I say, this is acrylic glaze, water-based. Everything can be washed out in water. Now I'm just going to roll over it and see if I can get it just a little bit more even when I glaze and wipe. So check over it, make sure you've got all the background, make sure you're not missing any. So I'm concentrating, that's why I stopped talking. We should have some of them effects, shouldn't we, where we fast forward this bit. Should put some effects on. The tools I've got down there are squeegees. Now you can use them on their own, or you can wrap a rag around the end and use it like you're wiping with a cloth as well. I'll show you that in a minute. And this is spend a bit of time on this process, because when you get the background right, it makes the overall effect look better. So if you've got misses in the background and you spend a lot of time doing your glazing and wiping and getting it real nice, it's not going to look that good if you've still got misses on it. One thing with glaze though, it's got a long open time. An open time means it stays wet for a long time. So if you did happen to make a mistake or do something and slip like that, don't worry, because you can just go over it. It stays open for probably about 3/4 of an hour. By the time it gets to like 3/4 of an hour though, it starts to go tacky, so you won't want to be doing it. But don't worry, if you make a mistake, start off with a few little heavy bits, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what to do next. So what you need is, you need your squeegee and a cloth. Now you can either wrap the cloth around the top, but I've found personally you can have a practice piece somewhere as well. Yeah, there's some bits of embossed paper, you can have a practice piece, just see how it goes before you do your own. So what you're going to do here, make sure that it's nice and clean, the edge of the squeegee. Start at the top and then just drag it down over the top. And then what you're getting is you're just taking off some the embossed areas, but what I've done here is I've pressed a little bit too hard. So as I say, it's got a long open time. So I'm just going to go back over it. Like that. And I'm just going to have another go. Okay? Don't worry if you don't get it right first time. Your paper will wet quite well because it's brand new as well, so it hasn't got lots of coats of paint on. You've just put it on and then you've got 2 coats of acrylic eggshell, so it'll wet quite well. It'll probably wet better than this. You see, with this one, it all depends on the squeegee as well. Sometimes the squeegee has a little bit of a bend in it, so if you feel like, do you know what, it's just taking that bit off every time, go back and have another go. I'm not there, I'm just going to do that bit, so you can mess about with it. You don't have to do it all in one go. It looks like that's probably going to do that. But as long as it's uniform and you're getting the same effect all the way along, and you're putting the same amount of pressure on, and you're taking the same amount off, all the way across, that's fine. But as I say, it all depends on the paper. Each time you wipe, each time you glaze and wipe the blade as well. Now you can leave that like that, okay? That's fine. All right. These bits here, that's probably because it's had so many coats of paint. But that is generally the effect that you're going to get. It doesn't have to be perfect, all right? But you don't want to have, the way you're going to get a good coating and a good finish is to get the base coat of the glaze absolutely spot on. All right. If I'm not happy with it, if I catch it like that, don't matter. So as I say, it's got long open time. And just go over it. Don't add more glaze. Oop, big one, I think that is. Go over it, and then back again. So don't worry if you damage it. All right. If you think, do you know what? I would like the effect to look even more, put more pressure on. Every one of you will do it differently. Every one of you has got different pressure, different amount of glaze you put on. So they're all not going to look the same. They'll all look a bit different. So you've got the wide squeegee, but then there's the narrow one. And what I might do is just go that way with a narrow one on the top. Because I just think a little bit more needs taking off there. You won't, you think, you know what, I want that to be a little bit more pronounced. Go down it. It's all about artistic licenses. No right and wrong. You're not going to get it wrong if you've got an even glaze on the back. Now, if you haven't painted your paper correctly, you're going to get areas that have sunk because the paint has soaked into the paper. All right. Then you're going to have problems because you're never going to get an even base coat. Yeah. So that is basically glazing and wiping. You alright with that?